The conversation of longevity is definitely having a moment in the wellness industry right now. And we definitely talk a lot about lifespan, right? How long we live. We talk more and more about health span, how well we live. And I think that's everyone's goal in longevity, right? Is not just living a long time, but also living with a lot of life in our life in the time that we live. But there's a third dimension that doesn't get nearly enough attention, and that's joyspan, how much joy we actually experience across the years of our lives. And today I want to make a case that pursuing joy is not indulgent, it's actually essential, and it's hiding in a lot more places than you think. Welcome to your daily hit of grace and grit, your quick dose of inspiration to kickstart your day. I'm Courtney Townley, and here is today's hit. So Dr. Carrie Burnite is a gerontologist and the author of Joyspan, The Art and Science of Thriving in Life's Second Half. She describes Joyspan as sitting at the top of a longevity pyramid, above lifespan, above health span, because as she puts it, longevity is meaningless if you don't actually like your life. Think about that for a second. We spend an enormous amount of energy trying to live longer, trying to stay healthier. And sure, both of those things matter. But if the life that we're extending and maintaining is not a joyful one, if we're simply accumulating years without actually experiencing them, something essential is missing. So Dr. Burnite's 4 pillars of Joyspan are growing, connecting, adapting, and giving. Look familiar? There are themes that we've woven out throughout this entire month and also just through so many years of this podcast, which tells you something really important. Joy is not separate from health. It's a part of the fabric. It's woven into it. So here's a distinction I think that's worth making because I think we conflate these two things constantly. Happiness is how you feel over time, right? It's a general state influenced by your circumstances, of course, your relationships, your sense of meaning and purpose. It ebbs and flows. It is somewhat dependent on things going well. Joy is different. Joy is an intense momentary experience of positive emotion, something that you feel in your body as much as your mind. It doesn't require that your circumstances be perfect. It doesn't wait for everything to be figured out. It can show up in the middle of a totally ordinary Tuesday, in the middle of a hard season, in the most unexpected places. And I think this distinction matters enormously. Because if we're waiting to feel joyful until our lives are in order, we're going to be waiting a very long time. It's interesting. I went to pick up my dog's ashes at the veterinary clinic a few days ago. I think a lot of you know I had a blind 200-pound Great Dane named Sully for a little more than 7 years. And oh my gosh, he was the heartbeat of our house. Like he was just such a presence. And it's been brutal. Like the grief of losing that dog has been immense. And I thought I was over the worst of it. And then I go to pick up the ashes and they hand me this gorgeous, like it looks like it's a hand-carved box. I don't know where it came from, but it's a beautiful box. It's large. And they handed it to me. The woman handed it to me and of course I immediately started crying because like, oh my gosh, like it feels so final. And then she says to me, wow, your dog must have been really big because I don't think I've ever handed anyone a box this big. And then I just started to laugh, right? And it was weird because it was like a moment of joy in a really sad moment. And I think that what I was reading to you earlier there is just such a telling of that, right? It's such a great example of that it's just joy is an intense momentary experience of positive emotion, and it can show up anywhere at any time. So a few years ago, some of you longtime listeners might remember this, I had the pleasure of interviewing Ingrid Fattel-Lee on the Grace and Grit show, who's the author of Joyful. The surprising power of ordinary things to create extraordinary happiness. And her TED Talk is really fabulous. You should Google it if you've never watched it. It's on Where Joy Hides, and it's been watched over 17 million times, which is insane. But one of the concepts she introduced in her book, but also kind of recounted on the interview that I did with her, was this concept of joy spotting, the practice of actively looking for things in your environment that spark a feeling of joy. It's not waiting for joy to find you, but training your attention to notice where it already exists. And it's everywhere. The color of a flower, the sound of rain, a perfectly ripe piece of fruit, a song that takes you somewhere, the feeling of sunlight on your face, a dog being walked by a very small child. Ingrid's research found that joy tends to cluster around certain aesthetics. Things that are round, colorful, abundant, elevated, playful. Our nervous systems are wired to respond to these things. Joy is quite literally built into our biology. We just stopped noticing it. So joy spotting is the practice of noticing again. So a few just invitations to ignite more joy in your life. Number one, notice what lights you up. Do more of it. Not someday, this week. Small doses, even when it feels self-indulgent. Joy is not a reward for getting everything right. It's a health practice, like drinking water. Do some joy spotting. Build aesthetics of joy in your environment. Bring color into your space. Bring natural light into your space. Things that are beautiful or playful or meaningful to you. Your surroundings send you signals all day long. Make sure some of those signals are joyful. Spend time with people who make you laugh. Laughter is one of the fastest routes to joy and one of the most underrated health practices available. It lowers cortisol, it boosts immunity, it connects us to others in a way that almost nothing else does. So today, wherever you are, look around, find one thing that sparks something, just one. Write it down if you want. But notice how it feels to notice it. So we're coming to the end of the month, right? This is the end of July if you're listening to this podcast in real time. And what a month it's been. Like, we've talked about hard things, reckoning, loss, fatigue, avoidance, fear, and we've talked about really beautiful things. Dance, creativity, community, purpose, love weight. And all of it, in one way or another, has been about the same thing. Living fully. Not just longer, not just healthier, but more fully, more consciously, more joyfully. Your Joyspan is worth tending to. The moments of joy available to you today are not small. They are like the makings of a well-lived life. So you owe it to yourself to go out and find them. Notice them. If this stirred something inside of you, imagine what a whole book of clarity and courage could ignite. The Consistency Code, a midlife woman's guide to deep health and happiness, goes even deeper into the mindset and practices that create real, meaningful change at midlife. Grab your copy today over at theconsistencycode.com and keep the momentum alive.